The second day of the vegetarian CrossFitter project is now in the books, and here's my little recap on it so far. I'm going to try and capture all of my reactions, my experience so far in terms of 4 categories. How I'm looking, how I'm feeling, how I'm performing in the workouts, and then challenges that I've had to overcome. First, in terms of how I look, I'm only 2 days into this. I don't really expect to see physical changes, nor do I see physical changes yet. So status quo there, nothing to report. In terms of how I feel, I'd say that overall I am enjoying the meals. The vegetarian meals that I've prepared are generally all really enjoyable. They're tasty, they're delicious. I feel that they are satisfying me fully. When I eat them, I don't leave that meal feeling like I'm lacking something, I'm missing out on something. I don't feel hungry. I don't feel dissatisfied. So far, delicious, totally pleasant experience with the vegetarian diet so far. One exception, though, is I decided I was going to give grapefruit a second try. And in the past, I've had grapefruit, even like the pink grapefruit, and didn't enjoy it at all. I reintroduced it as part of my second meal in the vegetarian program, and it's just as unspectacular as I remember it. I still don't enjoy grapefruit at all. I have enough. I'm going to make it through at least this week with grapefruit. I'm just going to tough it out, but I doubt I'm going to keep grapefruit in my program in week 2 and forward. As a subcategory of how I'm feeling, I'll talk about my energy levels. Generally speaking, when I came into this challenge, my energy levels were pretty great throughout the entire day, and dependably so. And I feel like that is mostly status quo now as I've transitioned into the vegetarian diet, at least 2 days in. I feel like my energy is still pretty high throughout the day, and tends to be the highest between roughly the hours of, say, like 3 p.m. and 7 or 8 p.m. Still true. Now, I have noticed in a very, very subtle way a little dip, a lull, a barely perceptible dip in my energy levels after meal 2 each day. Meal 2 of my vegetarian thing involves an almond butter sandwich on whole grain bread. It involves tofu, mixed vegetables, seasoned with hot sauce and other seasonings. And what's the other thing in that mess? The grapefruit. I do notice that somewhere between 30 minutes and an hour after meal 2, I do have a slightly perceptible dip in my energy, in that I don't feel quite as mentally focused. I'm not as aggressively chomping at the bit to do my work, but it does pass by 1, 2, or 3, and I find that my energy levels spike up again. Additionally, my energy really seems very high after my meal 4 of the day, my vegetarian meal 4, which is the one that has a lot of pinto beans, onions, salsa, brown rice, and some other things. So that's, in terms of how I feel, that's my report on that so far. Performance-wise, CrossFit workouts. So on Monday, yesterday, I did a workout that was heavily cardiovascularly and muscular stamina biased. Felt totally normal in that workout. Day 2's workout was a little bit more strength biased, and we did a retest on a lift that we also retested last week. Comparing apples to apples, I do feel as though I might be, and it's hard to say for sure on one lift in one day, I do feel as though I might be a little less strong this week on this diet than I was last week on my previous diet. It's not definitive yet, still an open book, so we'll continue to evaluate. Finally, had my first big challenge, and that was I was leaving home early in the morning, and I realized I had an oversight that I had not prepared enough of my second meal to get me through that day. So I had underprepared, underportioned the food. And I had to stop what I was doing, unpack a couple things, race back into the kitchen, and then make more of the food before I left. And I was already running like a little short on time. I was in a hurry. I barely made it to my appointment to coach class before time ran out. So that was my first big challenge, because in that moment when I realized that I didn't have all of the vegetarian food that I needed, I seriously thought about saying, for this one meal, I'm going to say screw it, and I'm just going to go back to my old meal, which I've got, I can just easily switch over and do what I already know. But I decided to hold true. I fought through 8 foods that were on my current plan, and looking back, I'm glad that I did. So I did manage to stay the course despite this, hiccup or this roadblock. I found a way through, so that's good. Anyway, day 2's in the books. We'll see how it goes on day 3. I'm optimistic. Check in with you guys soon.